Morning, this is Brian. Today is Thursday, January 8th, 2026. And I'm here, parked at Silverset Park in Poway. Today, I am returning to the Twin Peaks area here in Poway. Starting on the Twin Peaks Trail right now. Trying to be getting up that way over there, towards Twin Peaks. And then, I'm hoping to go beyond that and try to climb some other peaks behind it to the north. So let's see how this is going to work today. Looking at a pretty decent hike today. My first hike of 2026. Didn't go out last week. So let's hope I can get 2026 up to a good start. My planned peaks for today are a good few, including Twin Peaks Southeast Overlook. Then I'm going to try to go down behind it and visit a few more, including Peak 1091, Peak 1032, and Boulder Mountain, both Boulder Mountain summits. So we'll see how this goes today. Should be an interesting day. I've done Twin Peaks itself before. Did this in late September 2024. It was very foggy that whole time. So hopefully this time I can get the views on top of the peak. Let's hope for a successful day and get this year off to a good start. Yep, barely a few steps into this hike. Already finding some pretty scarce botany here. Here we go. California copperleaf, Acalypha californica, is blooming right now. Here's one with some larger leaves and denser texture. Nice, beautiful subshrub to small shrub in the spurge family, the Euphorbiaceae. Really nice to see. This is a plant I very rarely encounter while hiking, and it will be found periodically in this area. There we go. There could be a spotlight video today. Very interesting plant, and I'm glad I'm coming across it today. There's actually quite a bit of it on both sides of the trail. Well, especially on more on this side of the trail here. It has a lot of it here. Alright, so one thing about this area, there are lots of peaks. I mean, lots of trail splits. Yeah, there are quite a few peaks in this whole general area. There are a lot of trail splits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this left, right at this little sign here. Go up these steps here. There are a lot of ways to wind your way around to Twin Peaks. I don't think I did this last time I was here. I don't remember. It's over almost a year and a half ago. But I'm continuing uphill towards the peak. That's all good. Maybe this will be a slightly different route than last time. And the coastal sage scrub. But higher up we should be coming across chaparral too. There is chaparral higher up on these hills. Alright. Well, keep working my way up this, and we'll see what other cool finds I might come across today. One thing is, most of these peaks have some form of trail. Twin Peaks has a very good trail system, and beyond, there should be trails to most, not all the peaks. One peak in particular, Peak 1032, is off trail. There's no trail going to the top of that one. 1091 has a use trail. Boulder Mountain has a couple different trails as well. And obviously Twin Peaks is pretty well known in this area. So there'll be a little bit of navigation if I were to reach Peak 1032. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, lots of awesome white sage up here. All right, I'll see you on the way. More updates. Yeah, there are a lot, like I said, there are a lot of small trail junctions that you're going to meet. This is a very hard left here. Not exactly sure where that goes, but I have a feeling it probably would connect with something that would connect to the summit probably. I think the last time I went that way. See a trail up that way. I think that's the way I went last time. Let's see. There's another trail connecting here. So yeah, I'm pretty sure, almost about 90% sure that I'm going a different way than I did the first time I was here. So this map should look different then, but at least getting to the summit, the map should look different than the first time. Okay, looks like we got a trail here and a trail over here. Intuition's telling me follow this. All right, right over this big slab. All right, see you on the way. All right, so I'm making my way. Say temperature right now is between 48 and 50 degrees. So I'm getting a pretty good sweat going, but it's only supposed to get up to maybe upper 50s, low 60s for a high today. So pretty nice before next week's big, huge warm up coming. This time next week it's probably going to be 25 degrees hotter. It's going to feel more like July next week, as we've went past a really good period of rain, but it looks like the rest of January is going to be dry and probably much warmer than average. That's what I'm guessing. I'm going to start emerging to some chaparral. Here we go. Got some Mission Manzanita, Psilococcus bicolor. And it's got those urn-shaped flowers that are characteristic of the family to which it belongs, the Ericaceae. I can't believe I was zoomed in too much there. But yeah, little bell-shaped flowers. And of course, Adenostoma fasciculatum, variety fasciculatum, common chamise, Well, back to Mission Manzanita. Look at all the droops. Had a pretty good year last year. They look like Manzanita droops. And they're related to Manzanitas, the Mission Manzanita. It's in a different genus, Xylococcus, where the true Manzanitas are in Arctostaphylos. And another defining characteristic is the droops on the regular Manzanitas, when they're fresh, they're pretty fleshy. Mission Manzanita are basically hard and woody, hence the name Xylococcus, woody fruit in Greek. So, yeah. Looks like the cloud deck's starting to fill in again. I'm hoping I'm not going to be in the fog again. Last time I was here on Twin Peaks, by the time I was at this elevation, I was already socked in. So I'm hoping today I'm not going to be socked in. It's not supposed to rain today. I like to have some views if possible. Because I can imagine the views on top of this peak are probably outstanding. It's the highest general peak in the vicinity. Now, if I make it to all those other peaks, I'm going to be gaining quite a bit of elevation. All the other peaks are lower than Twin Peaks. It's the highest peak in the general vicinity. So, I'm going to be losing a lot of elevation and gaining a fair amount as I go up and down. There's going to be a lot of up and down on this hike if I go all the way to those peaks, which I'm hoping to do so. All right. So we're kind of on this outcrop area. Looks like somebody used stones to build a step so you don't have to rock scramble. So we're keeping this class 1, just hiking. It gets a little rocky in spots, but haven't had to do any true rock scrambling yet. Views are opening up. It's kind of misty out because the air is very damp. The air is very humid. It's not that tropical humidity. It's like it's just because there's a lot of cloud cover, a lot of moisture in the soil. Plants are damp from dew and condensation. So it's kind of humid, but not that humidity that we had last couple weeks where it was actually subtropical. Yeah. So yeah, if the cloud layer stays a little higher than 1,300 feet, I should be able to have some views on the peak today. And that's what I'm hoping. All right. I'm wondering if this is actually going to make it to the peak, this trail. I don't know. You said I didn't take this trail the first time I was here. Let's see. I think my trail is going to continue this way. So it looks like we're going to round the corner here. So I got to remember when I do my map, that flat top hill with that mansion on top of it, I'm going to be hiking next to that for a nice portion of this hike. I've already come up a few hundred feet, so it doesn't really waste much time. It's not extraordinarily steep, so it's not really a super steep trail, but it has its moments. Now, introduce some Dudley pulverulenta into the mix. Some Chalk Dudley rosettes here on the side of the trail. This one's a huge rosette. Look how massive that rosette is. Wow. That is a huge Chalk Dudley rosette. They can get pretty big, but that's a pretty massive one. And of course, Chaparral Yucca. Of course, you know I got to botanize on this hike. One thing I haven't seen, but I saw on other trails in the Twin Peaks area, is hairy redberry. I haven't seen that one yet. I saw it on the first descent I made of this peak. I did see some hairy redberry on the other trail. That's how I know for a fact This is very different. So it's cool. I get to climb it a different way and check out a different side of this preserve. All right, that's enough yapping and some more ascending. I'll see you along the way up. Hiking up towards Twin Peaks. All right, so that's steeping up a little bit, but, and rocky in spots, but it looks like somebody purposely engineered a lot of these rocks on the trail to help as steps. As you can see here, looks like a pretty cool little step well type design. So I'm here at this one nearly buried outcrop here of granite. I'm gonna go take a look here at this little lookout. Still gotta get up there. Peak might be over there. I said the first time I was here, I was in the fog at this point, so I couldn't tell I was at the top until I had summited both Twin Peaks and Twin Peaks Southeast. Could not tell, but trying to head up towards that way. That might be Boulder Mountain right there. I think that's Boulder Mountain. It has two very nearly identical elevation summits. And I think the eastern one is supposed to be about a foot or two higher, but it's basically negligible. I can see, I think that's going to be peak 1091. And I think that one there is 1032, I think. So yeah, I think that is peak 1032. That's the one that's going to require off-trail travel to reach. This one here should be peak 1091, and I'm probably going to be connecting with a trail that goes around, and I think ascends its west flank, I believe. And then for Boulder Mountain, there's a water tower behind this ridge here, but I think I'm also going to be skirting around the side of peak 1032 to get up to Boulder Mountain. So I think that's going to be my plan. But here I am on this pretty nice little viewpoint here. You can look right down to where I started, right there in Silverset Park. You couldn't see Silverset Park the last time I was hiking up here until I was barely under the cloud layer towards the base, but then I had made an error in my navigation on the way back to the park the first time I was here, and I ended up going all the way out, I think all the way out towards some backcountry homes and a private road, but then there was a trail easement crossing through it, so I followed the trail easement, and I ended up on Midland Road, passing the Poway School District. I think it's Poway Unified, I believe, where the bus yard is for their school buses, and then I ended up walking along Midland to Twin Peaks Road and follow that the rest of the way back. All right, so here's the trail from whence I came, right here. And this is where I'm going right now. So, should be able to get to the top of that relatively soon. I'm not sure if that's actually going to be the peak or if it's going to be a false summit, which I'm not really too worried about. I want to get my year off to a good hike. So, that's how we do it. So, I'm just going to continue walking through this maze of sage scrub and chaparral, and we'll see if this will deliver me right next to the peak. So I'm pretty high up on this ridge. See something here, but I don't know. Looks like there's a use trail here, but I guess I'm gonna keep following this. That might just be a cutoff. looks like some sketchier trail. Oh, yeah, that would have been a switchback cutoff. That would have probably been a lot sketchier than just taking the regular switchback. I gotta say, this is a pretty well-engineered trail. So basically, when I'm done with Twin Peaks, I'm gonna be going down the other side. I see a trail that kind of goes down from the backside of Twin Peaks. It rounds, kind of skirting that little residential area, and then it's gonna go cut around the side, and then that's gonna be Peak 1091. So the trail's going to go up the more westerly side of it. So studying the route on Google Earth, making sure I know what routes I'm going to take. I think I'm almost there. See, I might visit the southeast peak first. Hit the lower of the two. Alright, that should be the southeast peak right there. Hit this one first. Then I'll go visit the official one next. Alright, so here's the lower southeast peak up ahead. At least I could see it this time, like the last time. Last time I couldn't see more than a few feet ahead of me. Alright. So let's see. Let's get to the twin southeast, which is about 50 or so feet lower. And then we'll go back up and hit Twin Peaks proper. The elevation on the top of this one's about 1,250. The top of Twin Peaks is 1,306. All right, getting a little break of sun. All right, yeah, I could barely see any of this landscape first time I was here. So when I got to the top of the first summit, I didn't know whether I was on Twin Peaks or Twin Peaks Southeast. I assumed I was on Twin Peaks, and then, which ended up being correct. And then I went to the Southeast Peak. At least I was able to navigate, even though it was really, really foggy up here. All right, well, I'll go see you at the Southeast Peak before I wind my way up. Alright, so I should be nearing the summit pretty soon. Gotta point my camera this way so the sun glare doesn't get on the lens. But I am just about at the southeast summit. Few short steps will lead me to the peak. And like last time, had to do at least the southeastern peak as well. Alright, so the peak is actually behind that. Very short distance behind that. I was nearly at the summit, but I saw somebody celebrating his time on the summit, so wanted to give that guy a chance, and then I could have these summits to myself as well. Let's see. Is there a way up to this boulder here? Let me see. Oh boy. Yeah, some sketchy rocks under here. So yeah, this is it. So yeah, the actual summit should be right up there, if not just a little behind it. I remember passing that nice rock outcropping there on the way down between the two. We'll go ahead and do a small 360. I'll get on this rock. This one's actually a foot higher, but this one's easier. This one should be easier to get on, I think. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Here we are. So, I'm going to start by looking northwest because Twin Peaks is to the northwest of here. So I'll make it north. So that's looking north. That's looking towards the eastern summit of Boulder Mountain. So I'm going to swing it around counterclockwise. There's Twin Peaks. Black Mountain and Rancho Penasquitos. Now I'm looking west. Looking southwest towards Van Dam Ridge in the Sabre Springs neighborhood. Looking more to the south towards the Hills of Mission Trails. Southeast in the glare of the sun, that's why the camera's lower. And there's some lower cloud action just to our south. Southeast towards the mist in Poway. East towards more low clouds, mist, and more of Poway. And there's back to Boulder Mountain and Twin Peaks. So I'm going to go start heading up that way now. Got a little bit of climbing to do to get up there, but I'm going to go start heading that way right now. I should have less than 100 feet of elevation gain to get up to the top of the actual Twin Peaks. So these rocks look like they would be, I'd say, class 3. If you could hoist yourself up. I'm really not super interested in that, but oh, I forgot my summit selfie. Alright, so I decided to scramble up, use my knee for leverage to get up, use my legs. So here I am, I got on top of the boulder here, decided to go for it anyways. Yeah, definitely a little bit better view here. Sorry for the wind noise. Yeah, it's a little better. Yeah, we're gonna get socked in again, it looks like. Ay. I was kind of hoping that wouldn't be the case. Yeah, it was kind of a little bit awkward to get up here. Like I said, I got relatively short legs, so not really. That's why sometimes rock scrambling is a little more difficult for me. But I think I went up on this one the first time, but I don't remember. I'll have to look back at my footage to see which rock I ascended. This is the higher one, so this is the actual summit boulder. But I could have probably used a little bit at the edge there to hoist myself up. It would have been actually a little easier probably. So yeah, so what I did is I used that for my left foot, and then I got my right foot on this ramp right here, and that's how I got up. And I used my hand on this one here to hoist myself up. All right. Well, I guess I'll just go ahead and start heading back and start making my way towards Twin Peaks itself. All right. So I got off. Had to take my time. It's usually easier to get on top of a rock than it is to get off of one. So got off that really small class 3 rock. It's not like a big sustained climb, but you know, just be careful. Heading my way back to this little mini saddle. Then it's up to the top of Twin Peaks. I'll see you along the way. Just got to follow the small single track to the little junction, and then the peak is a very short distance away, up on a couple of rocks. So I will be doing a little more rock scrambling. Okay, I'm approaching the summit right now. Okay, so this is from whence I came up, right here. This is where I came. That's where I went to visit the southeast peak. Now, I'm going to take this little spur up to the actual summit. Where's the summit rock? I think it's this one here. Yeah. Okay. This one's just a ramp. Okay, this is the trail I'm going to be taking after the peak. Right here. This one's just basically a class 1 ramp. No scrambling required, really. So, all right, this is it. Twin Peaks, the official peak. You're at 13,000. Never been that high up in my life. 1,306 feet. So I can see a chunk of my route is going to be going down that way, where those hikers are down there. Looks like they might be trying to climb some extra peaks too, potentially. So there's peak 1091, there's peak 1032, and they're both summits of Boulder Mountain right there. So we got a few Twin Peaks in this Twin Peaks area. So this is the actual high point of Twin Peaks. Right up here. And yes, even though we do have some low clouds, they are just high enough to reveal some pretty good views, even though it's a little misty, especially towards the Poway range where Woodson Mountain and Iron Mountain and company are. Still get some pretty darn good views out here. You know, I can even see Bernardo Mountain off to our northwest. Right there. Over by Lake Hodges, that's Bernardo Mountain right there. yet to climb that one, but I can see myself doing it in the future. So what I need to do is do what those hikers are doing. Get on the trail that goes around, and I'm going to circumnavigate that property on the trail. I'm going to follow the trail. I should go around the side of 1091. And like I said, I saw a use trail on the Google Earth imagery that should take me to the peak. So let's see. I'm hoping that I don't have to reclimb Twin Peaks on the way out, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be pretty tuckered out by the time I get over there. But it's time for a good summit selfie, maybe a couple summit shots. Start making my way down. So again, if you're going to be trying to do a similar hike to what I'm doing, this is the way. This is your spur trail to get to the peak, and this is your summit block. It's a lot easier than it looks. It's, like I said, it's a class 1 ramp. The best way is just go along the base of the boulder diagonally and just gently walk up. It's very easy. It's class 1. It's not even class 2. Definitely easier than the summit block on Twin Peaks Southeast. And there's another little alternative viewpoint right here I'm going to briefly visit as well, which just requires you stepping around rocks. You get some pretty good views up here too. Some pretty darn good views up here. And there's Twin Peaks Southeast right there. It's more of a really tiny little 15, 25 foot bump. So it's not really a prominent peak, but definitely worthy of a little side trip if you're willing to add just a very small amount of distance, maybe a little extra elevation gain. Definitely worthy, because it does have a good view there. Okay, so now need to start heading down. You start heading down the north side of the peak, like the group of hikers before me. I don't know if you could see them on camera, but they were heading down the trail where I'm heading myself. So I'm hoping on the way back, I did see some trails skirting the west side of Twin Peaks, so I don't have to reclimb it. Really don't feel like reclimbing it after potentially climbing more peaks. I say potentially because sometimes plans don't work out the way you want them to, and I'm always prepared for that possibility, but also anticipating that I'm going to do it. But I'm hoping to not have to reclimb the peaks on the way back out. Hoping to be able to skirt along the side and work my way back. What's this here? A little viewpoint? There's the trail. This is probably a little viewpoint here. Oh, I guess some larger Mission Manzanita here too. Yeah, it's like a viewpoint right here. It's a little muddier on this side. It's a north-facing slope, so things are going to dry out more slowly. But you get a good view of the next couple of peaks. Again, Peak 1091, that's my next objective. Peak 1032 is a possible objective. It's going to require me to probably go up the south face off trail. And in Boulder Mountain, if I don't run into private property over there, which I'm hoping not. And then I can see some of the trail I'm going to be taking is going to be going probably along this ridge here. Then it's going to cut down. Then it's going to, I'm going to join a trail. I'm going to turn right on that trail, and it should skirt around the side of Peak 1091. So let's see how that goes. All right, away I go for some more peak climbing, hopefully. I'm up here on the ridge, ascending the ridge. Sorry for the loud jet. But yeah, not extraordinarily steep. Might be a little slippery when it's muddier, but it's not. Soil's definitely damp, but it's not too bad. So that's the slope I descended right there. Looks scarier than it actually is. I'm just following this ridge. A couple of switchbacks, little zigzags up there, had a couple sketchy trails cut into them. I'd say doing that is even sketchier than the gentle switchback trail. But yeah, we're going to be following this ridge for a little bit. Some good views down into Poway, the interior section of Poway behind Twin Peaks. It's a beautiful day out here. Temperatures are still pleasantly cool, and occasionally get some spots that there's a really invigorating breeze. It brings a nice slight chill to the air, which is very much appreciated. But since I'm going downhill, not exerting myself too much, I'm not really sweating anymore. But definitely you get a good workout. If doing Twin Peaks alone, I'd say the hike is about 3 out of 10. Still in the relatively easy category. Yeah, it's steep. It's steep, but it's not extraordinarily steep. There are a few spots that you'll huff and puff, but overall, the hike to Twin Peaks is pretty easy, actually. Especially if you've been hiking. No smoking. No problem. All right, so we come to a fork in the trail. I'm going to take the one going over to the residential area. I'm not sure where this goes, and I'm not planning on finding out today, but this should skirt us just enough below the private property to not be too much of an issue, I believe. You know, there's my turnaround objective over there, another Twin Peaks summit of Boulder Mountain, if I can get over there without trespassing. I read trip reports on Peak Bagger, and I haven't heard anything about trespassing or any issues like that, because a lot of Peak Baggers are pretty candid about, ooh, I trespassed over here. And if I knowingly see any signs of private property, I will obviously not continue. And for the meanwhile, getting to Peak 1091 should be really no access challenge. 1032 will be a little bit more of a logistical challenge, because I'll have to find an off-trail route to get up there. And like I said, Boulder Mountain will probably be the one I'm a little bit more concerned about, the potential of private property being an issue. So we'll see about that. All right, I'll see you along the way. I'm going to be doing a lot more downhill than uphill for a while. And there's Twin Peaks right up there. Yeah, just like I figured, there'd be some pretty darn good views up there. It's the highest peak in the general vicinity. That's until you start heading towards the Poway Range and over towards Black Mountain, and then Mission Trails to the south. We're getting some pretty big Mission Manzanitas up here too. Pretty decent sized ones. Alright, so I'm going to be kind of quieting down a little bit so I don't disturb property owners. Look at that rock. Oh, cool. Look at that. Damn, Mission Manzanita right next to it. Gorgeous. Time for a couple pictures. So when we get to this part here, we're not going to keep going this way, and we're not going to go this way, but I'm going to take a left to skirt below the properties and start going downhill down this canyon. And like I said, I'm going to be skirting around the side of this. I will be making another turn, I believe, pretty soon. It'll start taking me probably more downhill along the west slope of this small range of hills. It's very beautiful here. Very beautiful. This is a mosaic of sage scrub and chaparral. It's kind of like a conglomeration of both vegetation types. I see a lot of chaparral species like chamise, mission manzanita, and I see a lot of plants you see more out in coastal sage scrub, like widely spaced laurel sumacs. Oh, and here we got Kekiella antirrhinoides. This is yellow bush beard tongue right here. In the spring, that thing will be covered in yellow penstemon-like flowers. I probably hear the click-clacking of the batteries in my pocket. But yeah. So yeah, we're going to be losing some decent elevation here. Like I said, I'm hoping that at some point I find a trail. I believe the trail is going to branch off to the right and start leading me around the slopes, leading me towards peak 1091. Like I said, I'm planning on a multi-summit day, get my year off to a good start, and what a way to do it. Enjoying one last hike of cooler weather before more summer-like heat kicks in, which means I might have to retreat to the mountains next week. Hope to get a good hiking streak going again. But yeah, we're losing quite a bit of elevation here. Look at that. Look at how much of a beast Twin Peaks looks from this side. Oh, that's gorgeous. What a good view of Twin Peaks. All right, I think I see my trail actually. Right here seems to be a trail, and this is the one I'm going to take. On the way back, I might continue going this way to see if that leads me towards Silverset Park, so I don't have to reclimb Twin Peaks. So here we go. Yeah, I saw this big rock from above. I was thinking, okay, good landmark. Well, here it is. Yeah, great view of Twin Peaks from here. Get a couple pictures of this. Alright, looks like finding some interesting botany here. Now, I've seen a couple lemonade berries, Rus integrifolia, along this route, coming down from Twin Peaks. Not so much on the other side. But here's a hybrid between lemonade berry and sugarbush. Both are closely related sumacs. Lemonade berry being Rus integrifolia, and sugarbush being Rus ovata. So this is a hybrid Rus integrifolia, Rus ovata. Very intermediate between the two. The extra thick leatheriness of Rus integrifolia, even though Rus ovata is thick and leathery, but Rus integrifolia is really thick and leathery. And some slight folding up at the midrib on some of these leaves, and the larger size indicative of Rus ovata. So yeah, this is another hybrid, Rus integrifolia / ovata. Yeah, the Poway area seems to have quite a few of these. So when I hiked Goat Peak, you can check out that video if you're interested. I hiked Goat Peak over a little bit further to the east of here. I found several examples of hybrid Rus ovata / integrifolias along that route as well. Yeah, I saw, like I said, coming down, coming down from the ridge, I did see a couple of small Rus integrifolias. And I think I see some Rus integrifolia closer up towards where the homes are. I think I see a couple of Rus integrifolias up there. They have the finer texture with the smaller leaves you'd expect on integrifolia. But yeah, this is a hybrid between the two. And this one is a beast of a thicket. Absolute beautiful specimen. Beautiful hybrid here. Wow, what a beast. What a beauty. Right here along the trail, as I'm heading towards trying to find the west ridge of Peak 1091. So yeah, we do get some pretty good botany out here, I'll tell you. And now we got some California peony. Yeah, these flowers, you literally have to lift them up. It's in bud right now, but when these open up, they're going to be hanging down, so you're going to have to kind of look at them from underneath or push them up like this. Paeonia californica. And there's a lot. There's so much of this California copperleaf on this hike, especially the route I took to Twin Peaks and beyond. It's everywhere around here. Oh, there's a lot of California copperleaf up here in this small range of hills. All right, so keep following this trail, and I'll keep you posted on more finds and more hiking updates. All right, so just a couple steps later, I'm at another junction. So eventually, I think I can see a trail cutting down there. So on the way back, hopefully I'm going to be coming around this way and cutting through that canyon, because I can see where Twin Peaks Road is, or Twin Peaks Avenue, whatever, down there. And I remember that flat-topped hill with the mansion on it. I was just to the east of that when I was coming up. So I might be able to go down this way, actually, and should be able to connect with some trails down there to get me back to Silverset Park. That part's going to be a little bit of a pick my own route if I don't want to have to climb Twin Peaks. But yeah, so when you get to this little junction here, you get to that little junction, I came from this way here, past that hybrid sumac. So that probably take me back to the car, but I'm going to take the right fork to head me underneath Peak 1091. So let's see how this works. There it is, Peak 1091 coming into view. That's going to be my next objective right there. So what I need to keep doing is following this down and down. Looks like it's a little muddy over here. That's not too bad. Now there's my next objective. Right up there. All right. Well, I don't know how much more I'm going to have to descend, but I know eventually when I'm on the side of the ridge, I'm going to have to look for a use trail cutting the way up. There's another massive chalk dudley, another humongous rosette. Absolute beast of a chalk dudley right there. Some of the trail's a little less distinct here. It's a little less. There are a lot of rocks up and around here, so this is where you might have to really pay attention to where you're going because of these boulder outcrops. So let's see. Just give you a warning. Never been this far. Never been past the Twin Peaks area. So this is new territory for me. All right, so I'm still on the trail, so which is good. Just gotta pass this pretty big rock. But it seems to be somewhat maintained because sometimes you'll see some rocks along the side of it acting as a border. So, okay, well, should be getting to the, I think, the western northwest ridge. Western northwest ridge is what I'm gonna, which I believe I'm gonna be ascending. Just got to keep an eye out for the trail over here. Let's see. The trail's a little indistinct over here. I think it continues over there towards that upright rock, I believe. Yeah, there it is. All right, so when you start approaching Peak 1091, just keep an eye, especially when you get to this real rocky section, just really keep an eye out for the trail. Aim for this slightly upright rock here, and you should be good to go. All right. See you on the next update. All right. So I'm soon going to around the western ridge of my next objective. So I really have to keep my focus on finding a use trail branching off to my right to start ascending up towards the peak. So this is where I gotta pay attention, because this trail here will continue skirting the side of it, but my goal is to branch off and go up. Let's see. Like I said, I looked on Google Earth and I did see a line going up towards the peak, so I got to keep an eye on where I might be able to locate that trail. It looked defined enough to where it should show up. When I get to that area. Let's see. I don't think that's it. Should be pretty well defined as far as I can tell. Let's see. Here's another junction. It seems to go downhill. I've just been following this. I haven't seen anything going up to the top of this yet. Unless that junction continues skirting around. I don't know. Haven't seen anything branching off. Let's see. So yeah, there was a hard junction there, roughly 90-degree angle. So, kind of curious what that was about. This one looks like it's heading towards the peak. I'm curious. I'll keep you posted. It seems like this one is actually going towards the peak itself. So maybe what I'm supposed to do is eventually take that junction to skirt around, to get to the base of the other peaks. So this might actually be the trail to the peak, but I'm not sure yet. I'll find out some way, somehow. I'll keep you posted. All right, so my intuition is telling me that by staying straight, instead of banking left at that junction, staying straight actually took me to the use trail to get up to the peak 1091. So I'm already above that smaller hill right there. That's 1032, and I'm above it. So I don't have a lot more elevation gain to go to get to peak 1091. Elevation wise, probably pretty close. Let's see. It looks like we bank right here. And again, somebody's done work on even these narrow trails to make them doable. There was one spot where I had one or two spots where I had to use my hands to balance a little bit, but I don't even really want to call that true rock scrambling. I think I'm almost on 1091 right now. Just about on the peak. I just got to look for the summit. So that was easier than I thought to get up here, to be honest with you. It's steep. Once you get past that junction, that hard left, it's pretty steep coming up, but it's easy, relatively easy. Just steep, that's all. All right, I'm just about to summit peak 1091. Let's see. All right. Trying to see. Let's see. Trying to think. Is it over here? There's that little spot, but I don't want to get too close to those houses. Let's see. That's about where peak 1091 is. I think that's the highest one there. But that's way beyond my skill level, so I ain't tripping off that. Well, here I am. This is it. Peak 1091. Another small peak here in Poway. Not a lot of prominence. Not a lot of prominence, it doesn't look like. See, those are the houses I circumvented going down that way along the single track. So yeah, the really narrow single track that led up here, I didn't even have to navigate. All I had to do was stay straight, and it took me right up to the peak. So I was expecting to have to literally branch off and go right, but staying straight actually did the right for me, because if I would have went left, it probably would have led down towards that area there. So yeah, this is pretty interesting. Yeah, 1032 doesn't have a trail leading to it. My only concern is this is, I think, part of an open space area, so I don't know if I should be doing a lot of off-trail travel. That's the thing. I really want to get to it, though. That would be probably the most rugged peak of the day. I don't know. It's tempting, I'll tell you that. And I can see the trail I'm going to need to get down there, following its way past some senior homes, I think, and in a hospital or whatever that is, probably a hospital or business campus. The trail's going to take me near that, and then I'm going to be probably taking, again, another use trail up the west ridge to get to Boulder Mountain. which is over there. That looks like a false summit of it right there. I think the actual summits are those two right there. So that'd be further north than the water towers. So yeah, it should be pretty interesting. I'm trying to look at my route to get up the rest of the way. So I'm gonna call it a summit here. Maybe I'll go to those rocks over there. But I think I'm slightly higher than them, so I'll call this 1091 right here. This looks like it here actually. Very interesting. So this is peak 1091. And we're pretty close to being level with the ground underneath that mansion over there. Actually, next to the flag, it looks like there's a slightly higher piece of ground there, but that's obviously on private property, and there's no chance in heck I'm doing that. So 1091, folks, up here in Poway, California. Pretty nice, pretty nice. All right, I'm gonna go take my next summit selfie and then start planning my next climb. I'm gonna try to decide whether to go for 1032 or not. It's tempting, but I don't know if I really should be going off trail in a place like this. I don't know. It's tempting though. I mean, I could make it up there. It looks like I could do it with maybe some light brush and some slight bushwhacking, but I know there would be a way to get up the south face there. I'd probably have to route around some boulders and stuff and climb over some brush, but it doesn't look like it would be a really severe bushwhack from this point of view. I gotta think about that one. It's tempting, but we'll see. All right. Get my summit selfie now. All right, so I made it up to this slightly higher location right here. This would actually, I think, be the highest point here, but I'm not trying to class 4 it up. I'll be happy here on this one. This boulder's pretty up high as well. So yeah, it's a pretty nice little peak. I said it doesn't have a whole lot of prominence, but it's still pretty nice. It's really nice to get it up here. Wow. And of course, there's Twin Peaks right there where I was before. Yeah, it's a very roundabout way to get here, but very scenic roundabout way. And for hikers looking to put in some miles, you really can't go wrong. There's Black Mountain. Sorry for the wind. There's Black Mountain right there. Yeah. There's Van Dam Ridge over there. And again, you can see Mission Trails, the peaks of Mission Trails off over to my south. Yeah, Coles Mountain on the left, and on the far right, North Fortuna Mountain. And then between Piles Peak, Waipai, and South Fortuna. So yeah, this is a pretty easy little rock to get up right here. Just a class 2, nothing extraordinary. Unless you want to come from this direction, you might have to do some class 3. Alright. Take one more summit selfie here. And I'm going to start looking for ways to get down there. Alright. Now the nature of the game is to get back down this use trail and to get back to that junction, and this time go down towards that wider track way down in the valley. So I got some work to do, but I'm doing it. So there we go, leaving peak 1091. Leaving it right now. So we've got another quick little viewpoint over here. Our trail's gonna go around that way actually. Yeah, some good views up here too. You know, see over towards the Poway range over there. You can see North Iron Mountain and Ellie. No. Yeah, North Iron Mountain and Mount Ellie. Above the house is Mount Ellie. The bump above the mansion, it's Mount Ellie, and that's North Iron Mountain. And in the clouds over there is Woodson Mountain over there. All right, so time to start heading around this little use trail. This is pretty easy to follow. A couple of pretty steep spots, but nothing that is more than just maybe a couple of slight. Use your hands for balance on a couple things. Probably more so on the way down, but like I said, there are some steps engineered into this trail as well, so obviously it's maintained for a reason. All right, away I go down this one and off to this next set. Very short time later, here I am at that junction. This is from whence I came before I basically stayed straight, but I guess you could consider it bearing right. As I was saying, I was looking for something to go off to the right to go up the mountain, and I guess this is the right of the two forests, so I guess I went right. But it felt like I was going straight, but yeah. Once you get to this junction, this will take you right to the 1091. And now I'm going to be losing some elevation as I get down in the valley a little bit. And I should be bottoming out, I think, anywhere between 700 and 800 feet above sea level. So I'm definitely going to have some work to do, not only on the way to the Boulder Mountain area, but on the way back I'll probably have some elevation gain. But it's all about getting some miles in, getting some exercise, fresh air, enjoying some botany, and summiting some awesome hills and peaks. So let's take it and enjoy it and roll with it. Away I go. Time to lose some elevation now. I gotta get down to some of that trail down there. You see a lot of buckwheat trunks around here. This is the foothill. Looks like the foothill variant. Ariogona fasciculata verdifoliolus. Had a look at that and see. But yeah, get some old gnarly buckwheat trunks sprawled out on the side of the trail. Pretty picturesque. Some old sagebrush too. We have a lot of this here too. California sagebrush. Absolutely dominating portions of the sage scrub community here. But we are actually more in chaparral now, so California sagebrush will be more in the openings of the chaparral, like by trail sides and stuff like that. All right, time to keep on descending down this beautiful trail. Okay, next botanical find of the day. Some hairy redberry, some pretty large hairy redberry down here. Some Rhamnus pilosa. Looks like an older specimen here. This is the first one I've seen in all day so far. This is an old one here. This is huge. It's very closely related to Rhamnus ilicifolia. Very similar to it, but the leaves are a lot hairier. Yeah, this is Rhamnus pilosa, most certainly. The leaves are a lot hairier, especially underneath. So that's definitely Rhamnus pilosa. I said the first time I ever saw Rhamnus pilosa was over on the other side of Twin Peaks. And that's a pretty big one. It's as big as some of the Rhamnus ilicifolias I've seen in Orange, in LA counties. Alright, so now we're heading down this north-facing slope in a very sylvatic section here. Look at this, Mission Manzanita. This is delightful. Look at this. Look at these Mission Manzanita trunks. It's pretty decent sized specimens here. One thing I have not seen is scrub oak. It's one thing I have not seen in this area yet. I don't know if I won't the whole day, but oh, this is delightful. Look at this. Oh, this is gnarly. Oh, this is gorgeous. Look at this. It's a little rocky here, so just watch your step too. Oh boy, this is enchanted. Very enchanting here. Wow. Chaparral can be surprisingly lush for people who aren't used to it. But it looks like we got some steep downhill coming here, so I'm gonna have to kind of watch where I'm going, and I'll keep you posted. Oh, I did find some lemonade berry over here too. Or I pointed out the hybrid between this and the sugar bush, that massive shrub earlier. Well, this is the actual lemonade berry. You can see the leaves are smaller than on Rus ovata. Yeah, that's Rus integrifolia lemonade berry. We're starting to get some patches of that over here too. Man, this is gorgeous. Yeah, some more lemonade berry. This is incredibly beautiful here. Suffice it to say, this is absolutely beautiful. Right here in this tall Mission Manzanita chaparral. What a gorgeous stretch of trail this is. Oh, am I glad I'm here. I was at the cusp of trying to do something a little easier and closer to home, but I'm glad I'm here instead, to be honest with you. All right. I'm going to keep on trekking and keeping you posted. Boy, the scenery is just keeps delivering and delivering. We got a or a white flowered currant already been blooming up here, Ribes speciosum. I mean, Ribes indecorum. Ribes indecorum. Speciosum is the fuchsia flowered gooseberry. But yeah, this is the white flowered gooseberry or white flowered currant. Gosh, I'm really mixing up today. So this is white flowered currant, Ribes indecorum. Not so indecorum, in my opinion. Indecorum means basically inornate. Looks pretty ornate to me. And I've been pointing this out. Hasn't been extremely super common, but I haven't seen. We're getting some more laurel sumac over here, and here's some more of that white flowered currant, young sapling right there. So we are heading towards that, down towards that valley. It's just been the last 20-30 minutes have just been absolutely drop dead gorgeous scenery. It's just so fresh out here too. The air is fresh, it's clean, a lot better than it was a couple weeks ago. There's peak 1032 up there. Here's a trail junction here. This will lead me down towards the base of Boulder Mountain. But I'm wondering if I should even try 1032. I'm going to branch off this way, at least go a short distance and decide. We're going to have our first tree of the day coming up soon too. We're down deep in this canyon. There's a sign here. What's this say? Placed by Temple Adat Shalom. Cardio hike 1 mile. So we're gonna have a bit of a switchback, and then I'm gonna have to look for a cross-country route to get up to the peak. So yeah, we got a coast live oak here. Quercus agrifolia, variety agrifolia. It's the only tree I've hiked by this entire time. Here it is. Some random coast live oak in this canyon. And then we got this little wash right here. Here's some water trickling in there too. Yeah. That's cool. Oh, this is gorgeous. So, I mean, I saw a sapling or two along the way here, but yeah, it's a pretty moderate-sized tree too. It's not exactly a little tiny twig. Yeah, beautiful Quercus agrifolia, variety agrifolia. All right, and that's the peak up there. Let's see. Let's see if I'm going to go for it or not. We'll see. I swear, it seems like giant chalk dudleyias seem to be a huge theme of my day today. Well, take a look at this. Look at that chalk dudleya. Wow. This thing's enormous. This thing's bigger than a dinner plate. This is a huge rosette. See, this one's been getting busy. These are all seed capsules from previous years. Amazing. They just seem to get bigger and bigger the further in this hike I go. Man, I gotta say, that's pretty nice. That coast live oak tree was definitely a pretty big highlight of this as well. So here we are, getting ready to cross a drainage here. Some little seedling Mimosoideae, some type of acacia or something. Not sure what species that is. I was almost thinking silk tree, but silk trees would be leafless this time of year. So we got a little water crossing here. Just step over, it's no big deal. And now we're getting a gravelly trail surface. So the trail surface is a little different now. This is a pretty fun hike. So this has been a pretty fun and very beautiful hike. So there's going to be a big switchback. So I remember looking at this imagery from Google Earth. I can see it coming up right now. Pomerado Trail. This is called the Pomerado Trail. Bush tits. The little cheeps of the shrubs. Sauterparus minimus. So that's going up towards the peak. So I'm just going this way just to decide whether I should go for it or not. And again, more California copperleaf. I've seen tons of it today. The route I went up to Twin Peaks this time, which was different than the first time, and now beyond Twin Peaks, it still pops up fairly frequently. So there's part of the switchback there. You see where that rock is That little light colored spot in the center, that's that chalk Dudley I just pointed out. Massive chalk Dudley. You can actually see it pretty well on camera. So if I were to do this peak, I would have to look at a way to amble up this. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to commit myself to it, but we'll see. I'm telling you, the more I step on this trail, the more botany I'm finding. We got California wood sorrel right here, Oxalis californica. It's our little shamrock relative with the 3 heart-shaped leafless. It looks a lot like our non-native Oxalis corniculata that's found in your garden. It looks very similar to it. However, the flowers are a bit larger. And this plant, which is also perennial, just like our Oxalis corniculata, will go dormant and stay dormant during the dry season. Whereas corniculata, I believe, will only survive where it gets irrigation during the summer dry season. So we have a little California wood sorrel. This is just an absolutely stunning hike here. Still debating on whether I want to bother trying to get up to 1032. Might just follow this trail and then go around. I don't know yet. Here's a multiple chalk Dudley rosette right here. It's everywhere I turn. It's everywhere. And it's big. A lot of big ones here. So there's the water tower. And that's a different, there's something about that oak right there. There's something different about that oak. There's something about that. Can't tell from here. Assuming by the size it's got to be a coast live oak, but there's just something about it. The foliage on it looks really small to be coast live oak. I wonder if that's a scrub oak. Let's see if I can get a little. I don't think there's any trail going near it, unfortunately. Let's see. Leaves are kind of definitely small to be Quercus agrifolia, variety agrifolia. I think that's probably a Quercus acutidens or Quercus berbertifolia. It's just a massive scrub oak, I think. Can't tell from here though. It's the size of a coast live oak tree, I'll tell you that right now, but something about that foliage, I can't get close enough to it. Almost like bushwhack off trail. I don't think that's a coast live oak. I think that's a scrub oak. Just a monstrous scrub oak. Okay. Okay. Looks like we're heading near homes and stuff. There's the Laurel sumac here. Some nice specimens here. Resources. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave Peak 1032 alone because it seems like it's part of an ecological area. Could at least fairly moderately, some moderate difficulty get up there, but I'm not sure if it's a good idea because this is all signed off as protected habitat, so I'm going to respect and leave 1032 alone. I'm going to follow this for a little bit more and see where this leads. And I'll probably start heading towards Boulder Mountain. Yep, there's Peak 1091 right there. get some beautiful river red gum eucalyptus growing here too. Eucalyptus condylensis. Kind of neat. Just gonna follow this for a little bit more, and then probably start making my attempt at Boulder Mountain. Should be able to get on Use Trail to get up there, but I have to backtrack a ways. That's private property right there, so I'm just gonna use this public easement here. This is still a Pomerado trail. So this kind of nifty little woodland area. Fenced here and fenced there. There's a giant American agave patch right here. Agave Americana. I wonder if this is subspecies Americana. You can see all the rosettes coming out from the root system. These plants ain't no joke. These things are vigorous. They're huge too. This is a pretty cool little woodland here. So yes, as tempting as it is to climb that peak, I think it's listed as listed sensitive habitat. So I think I'm just gonna leave it alone. As tempting as it is, believe me, I want to get up there. Just gonna follow this probably till about here. We're kind of surrounded by residential areas here. There's North Iron Mountain straight ahead again. Cool little trail. Someone's got Cuyamaca cypress in their yard, I think. In his or her yard. It's like Cuyamaca cypress growing over here. Smell eucalyptus. Yeah. All right. Clouds are breaking up enough just so you can kind of see the shy summit of Woodson Mountain trying to peek out. A little shy from the cloud cover. But yeah, there's good old Woodson Mountain right there. And there's Iron Mountain in the center. Yep, been on Iron once, and I've been on Woodson Mountain twice. Yeah, looks like we got some Cuyamaca cypress. Somebody's got Cuyamaca cypress trees growing on the property. What a way to go to native, I'll tell you. That is awesome. Whoever's got this property with these Cuyamaca cypress trees, that's a boss move right there. That's a boss move, planting native trees. Rare native trees here in Southern California. So I think this is where I'm gonna turn around, get back to the trail system down in the valley, and start looking for my way up. So I wanted to at least check this out and see. Was gonna consider breaking trail to go up to peak 1032, but this area is signed in spots. And I would rather just do the right thing and stay on trail. As much as I love going off trail to climb peaks, only in areas where I'm confident that that's not an issue, especially in national forests. Generally in national forests and stuff like that, where I'm a lot more eager to find my own route and go cross country. But some places like this with coastal sage scrub and stuff, I'm a little more hesitant. Man, This is a cool little trail, though. I'm not gonna lie. There's peak 1091 again. Yep, there it is. Just up there a little while ago. And those people live at the base of 1091. Talk about a W. Talk about a W vibe. All right, well, time to keep on trekking. At least got to take this trail for a short little out and back trip here. Look at peak 1032. Boy, is it tempting. But it is signed that this is it is signed, at least on that side. I'm assuming it applies to both sides. Oh, that looks so tempting. That's the inner peak climber in me struggling to defeat the so-called good boy in me. Oh man, I know I could get up there too. I could physically. Be steep, and probably some rock scrambling. Probably, hallmark of being responsible is also not just not doing the wrong thing, but doing the right thing, but doing the right thing even when nobody's looking, you know. And I do have a duty to be responsible, especially if I'm doing these videos, these hiking videos. I do have a duty to fight the temptation to do things that are really not right. Even though it looks totally doable, the bushwhacking doesn't look too extreme, but this looks like the whole area, I think this whole area is a preserve. So, which is very specific about staying on trail. And like I said, sometimes it's just better to do the right thing. And I am gonna definitely leave peak 1032 alone, despite the really gnawing temptation for me to do so. I do have a duty, well, especially, I have a duty whether or not I'm filming and making videos, but I do have a duty to impart a sense of responsibility when I'm out hiking. So I'm going to continue that, and as I am seeing those signs where off-trail travel is not I'm not worried about running into a ranger or anything, but like I said, doing the right thing is, in the long run, the better thing. Even if it doesn't get you where you want to go. Sometimes you just gotta swallow it and just do it. All right, enough PDA. Look, or PSA, whatever you want to call it. Here's a nice, huge spot, hairy redberry, Rhamnus pilosa. This is a pretty big one too. That is a pretty healthy size specimen. They're already starting to bloom. It's hard to tell because these flowers on these things are tiny. These little four-lobed sepals or tepals, whatever those are. Really tiny flowers. And very indicative of Rhamnus in general. Tiny flowers and then eventually turn into these red fleshy drupes with a leathery endocarp, which is like a seed pit. Yeah, so I'm just gonna continue on. Did want to explore this a little bit to see where it could lead, and I'm glad I did because it's quite beautiful here. This little canyon below me is absolutely stunning. There's a coast live oak tree that I saw before. It's kind of blending into the chaparral, but yeah, that's up up by where I was before, the backside of Peak 1091. So yes, I'm leaving 1032 alone, though I could see some possible routes to get up there. But considering this area is part of the preserve, if it weren't, I'd be more tempted. Of course, I'd do it, do it responsibly if it weren't restricted. I'd try to be very respectful and stuff, but my plan is to recreate responsibly and impart that responsibility on the people who watch my videos for inspiration or for interest. That I try to do the right thing. All right, so I'm still on the Pomerado. What I'm going to do is get to the junction after the switchbacks here, and then I'm going to go that way towards Boulder Mountain. If Boulder Mountain has any signage and stuff like that, obviously I'm going to obey it. But I wanted to take the Pomerado Trail. I knew that wasn't going to lead me to any continuing. I knew it wasn't going to lead me to any alternative routes to get up there. But I just wanted to see what it looked like. Just got to get a feel, see what it looked like over that little saddle between the hills. And here I am, going to cross the little trickle here. Here's some water trickling in there too. So satisfying. All right, well, I'm going to keep on going. There's that huge rosette again, Dudley pulverulenta. And I'm going to pass by that gorgeous oak again. And I'll see you at the next junction. All right, so I'm back at the junction. That's from whence I came, over this way. So now, coming off of the Pomerado Trail at the junction here, so I'm going to go head this way, cross this cool little trickle here. That's so cool. It's pretty cool to see these little trickles when we get rain. Another reason besides the health of the ecosystem why I like to see us get all of our seasonal rains is it's also very aesthetic when you have little tributaries and little brooks and little rills crossing your trail. Yeah, I think it's just radical. It's rad. All right, so now it's time to follow this laurel sumac grove through this trail here. There's another trail junction here, but I'm not sure where that goes. So we'll see. All right. I'm gonna see if I can make it up to Boulder Mountain. That's the goal. Really tempted to get up there, and I could have. Physically, I could have made the trip up there, but again, I try to be a positive influence, not a negative influence. A nice blue elder, little small single trunk tree poking out here amongst the laurel sumacs. All right, so now I'm going to be passing close to the residential area, so I'm not going to be quite as loud. But yeah, I'm going to be looking for a trail that's supposed to go up the west or northwestern ridge of Boulder Mountain. I believe it's the west or northwest ridge. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if that works out for me today. Okay, here's another split. The little post here. I think this goes back to the residential area. I'm going to follow this here. So I'm going to stay right at this junction to keep me skirting around the base of the cluster of hills that culminates at Boulder Mountain. Oh, there's another California peony right here. The ones down here at this low elevation should be blooming pretty soon, so hopefully in the next week or so I'll start thinking about spotlight videos. Hello, little buddy. Look at that. Hello, little buddy. Wow. cool. So, looks like I got some work to do. That's some elevation gain right there. And that's not even the summit area. The summit's actually behind it and even higher up, so definitely gonna have some work to do to get up there, but I'm down for the task. What we got here? Ceanothus tomentosus. Oh no, spiny redberry, Rhamnus crocea. So we got spiny red. This is a massive one too. This is a big one. This thing is tall. Dang, that's a massive Rhamnus crocea. Okay, let's keep on going. There's a trail sign up ahead. Let me get to that first. Make sure everything's good here. These people got a lot of Italian stone pines, Aleppo pines, even Monterey pines growing in there. So this is still the Pomerado Trail technically. So this is the Pomerado Trail still. Keep following this. What a beautiful day to be out and about, I'll tell you. Yeah, has a good few to several hundred feet that I'm gonna be looking at coming up. So yeah, this is gonna be good. Definitely be getting some workout coming up. It's gonna get juicy, baby. All right, see you on the next clip. All right, so I'm gonna definitely have to start keeping an eye out for a trail going up this way. Or a little single track going up this way. Haven't seen any signs of it yet, but definitely be keeping my eyes open. For a trail going off to the right. Okay, it's not a trail. So I'll keep you posted if or when I find it. Alright, so we're coming up on a junction here. This leads to, looks like, a residential area, and the Pomerado Trail is this hard right here. So I'll keep following the Pomerado Trail and see if this is gonna lead where I'm hoping. Next botanical find, San Diego marsh elder. Here we go, Eva haziana. Right here on the side of the trail. That's pretty cool. You got some San Diego marsh elder. So my trail is following this here on a side hilling this facility. I'm assuming it's a medical facility or something. And it's going to go kind of to that notch between that little rock outcrop and what looks like is going to be Boulder Mountain. I'm assuming that's the slope that leads up to the Boulder Mountain summit area. So that's where I'm heading. And let's see if I can find that use trail. Very pleasant hiking out here. Very pleasant hiking. Next charming part of this hike, just a few steps later, I'll be crossing this bridge over this arroyo. Gonna cross this gully on this little footbridge. How cool is that? Nice little sumac. I don't hear any water running through this one, but I assume it does at times. All right. Wow. This backdrop is so impressive. Just love these big hills. Alright. I'm gonna keep an eye out for that use trail, see if I find it. Fingers are crossed. Or some of this little notch now. You get the nice boulder outcrop over here. It's like you practice some pretty good rock scrambling and climbing. And this starts heading down towards those eucalyptus trees. I think I found the use trail right here. This is it. This has got to be it. So now the real work's going to begin. Because I got to climb over that. Probably climb over that, I think. And then I got a lot of work to do. So here I am. On the way, hopefully, to Boulder Mountain. Let's see. Let's see if this is the way. There's another use trail here. Well, this is interesting. Huh, this is interesting. Let me see something here first. Intuition's telling me that I'm gonna have to take that junction here. It's over here. Let's see. Let me see. It's starting to get a little more trashy over here. People throwing stuff on. Looks like it just leads back down there. Well, I saw it looked like another use trail branching off to the right. So I'm going to go back, find that, and start following that and see if that's the trail, which I think is going to be. I'm going to follow this, start following this. I think this is going to be it. So I'll know when I'm back. Keep following towards that on the way back. I think this is the use trail here. Let's see. Let's see if this is it. I think so. Let's see. Looks like it. All right, let's see. So far, so good. Looks like a use trail. Let's see if this continues being one or not. This use trail is a lot more faint. But so far it's kind of followable. It's climbing. It's a good thing. Huh. Somebody put a rock duck here. All right, that's good. Interesting. All right. Yeah, looks like I ducked route over here. Starting to see some more ducks coming up. There's another duck here. Ooh. Go this way. Sorry for the sun glare. Definitely steep coming up this way. All right. Keep you posted on my progress, but It's definitely a use trail. All right, catch you on the next clip. Yeah, use trails, fairly decently easy to follow. And it is periodically ducked. It's very steep, so be prepared. The last bit to the summit's going to be a bit of a doozy, which I kind of expected, to be honest with you. But it is pretty easy to follow once you start turning away from where I left the main Pomerado Trail. I'm catching my breath because it's a pretty steep climb. Nothing technical. Haven't had any rock scrambling, at least not yet. Soil's pretty good underfoot. Since the soil's kind of damp, it's not very loose. Pretty easy to get good purchase with your feet on the soil. And like I said, it is ducked, so far so good. Let's see what happens a little further up. A lot of rock ducks, so this is good. Turkey vulture. Yeah. Cathartes aura. Catching a ride on the thermals. Well, I found my first scrambling part here. Get over this boulder here. Yeah. Let's see if we can get over this way. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, that's the only decent obstacle so far along this route. All right, let's see. Still a pretty good use trail, very followable. So we'll see how long this keeps going. All right, so I've been up at it for a few more minutes ever since I had to hobble over that rock. Looks like I'm approaching a plateau. Haven't seen any rock ducks since, but haven't really needed them. See some higher terrain up ahead. Just want to see where this is leading. There's some peaks up ahead, not too far away. I see a climber's trail going up towards that knoll there. I temporarily leveled out. There's peak tag 91. It's like I still have some more elevation gain coming up. Looks like people built this place up for something. I don't know what. A bunch of sacks think I still got a little ways to go to get to the top. Figured this would probably be the toughest one to climb today, because it's the furthest out. Gosh, it smells so nice up here. So, I think my trail's gonna go up towards that way there. I think I'm gonna sit down for a few minutes, get something to drink. Haven't drank anything yet. I have not drank a sip of water yet. But now I think I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna take a little rest on this rock and then just keep ambling up and keep you posted. It seems like the use trail on the downhill direction seems to branch off. Keep seeing stuff joining. So I'm wondering, this is probably one that braids, I guess. I think what's going on over here is these are bike ramps, I guess, that probably locals use, I guess. Yeah, I figured that's what these were. Interesting. Well, see if I'm getting anywhere near the summit yet. Looks like I missed the other trail right next to that little cone-shaped mound. Yeah, so I've been coming up this really narrow use trail. Still got me to the same spot, but it looks like the trail branches off, braids off, kind of braids off and on. So when I go back down, I'm going to follow the wider track there. So I'm coming up this side here. See if hopefully I'm getting close to the summit. I can feel myself tiring out. I've been out this for a while, not gonna lie. Very beautiful though. Very nice trail. A little more on the rugged side compared to the other trails. Got a scrub oak up here. Got a Quercus scutidens. Pretty cool. All right. All right. Let's see if I'm near the summit soon. So when you get up the trail a bit further, you'll see this big rock blocking the way. If you're really good at climbing rocks, go for it. Otherwise, go up around the left. You'll have to do a little light bushwhacking, and you'll have to scramble up this little part here. But yeah, I'm still trying to work my way up to the top. Yeah, this trail goes on for quite a while, so be prepared. I think a lot of people who climb this peak come in from, I think, the north or the west. I came in all the way from Silverset Park because I wanted to rack up the miles. Well, looks like it gentles out for a little bit, and I will keep you posted. There's definitely some more rock scrambling. So yeah, there definitely will be some rock scrambling on this use trail. A little more than I anticipated. Interesting. Let's see. So I get a little more rock scrambling over here. All right. Class 2. All right. Should be there soon. Kind of hope. All right, so shortly after that break in the fence there, I think I've come across just about the western summit. Right here. I think the eastern summit might be a foot or two higher. But I think this is the one listed on Peak Bagger. Let's see. I get to that small rock pile there. Should be a quick little class 2 windup. Get to Boulder Mountain. Okay, let's do a quick little class 2 scramble to get up to the rocks. Oh. I think that's the other summit right over there. This looks like it's a little higher, I think. So here we are. Boulder Mountain West. We're about 1,209, 1,210 feet or so. I think Peak Bagger says 1,211. But here we are. This is the summit right here of this side. I will go for that one really quickly though. Wow. All right. Now this is Boulder Mountain West. So I'm going to try to make it over to the eastern knoll. And the view's really opening up since the clouds are thinning out. Starting to get some pretty good views now. Very good views starting to open up. Very nice. All right, so I'm going to get my summit selfie for the west summit. And I'm going to see if I can make it over to the east summit without any property issues. I'm not sure. We'll see. Alright, so I'm going to do a 360 up here. I'm going to do a viewfinder actually because there's a lot more opening up to be visible. Alright, so I'm going to start by looking east. And that's the good old Poway range right ahead of me. Iron Mountain over there. Iron View Top and Middle Summit, which are smaller summits on Peak Bagger. I can see, well, Mount Ellie's kind of blocked off by Middle Summit. But then we got North Iron Mountain right there. And I can see California 67 passing between the saddle of North Iron and Woodson Mountain, the highest point of the Poway range. Now we're looking north towards North County, northern parts of Poway, going in towards Escondido and so forth. Ramona is off on the other side of these mountains. Looking northwest, I can see Interstate 15 snaking its way towards the northwest. Excuse me. Zoom in a little bit here. We got Bernardo Mountain over by Lake Hodges. And more northwest, I could see Frank's Peak and Mount Whitney. Then I think that's Double Peak right there. Yeah, it should be Double Peak, and the other Cerro de las Posas. We're looking west towards northern San Diego and Solana Beach and so forth. We're looking west-southwest towards Black Mountain open space. And it's over by the Rancho Penasquitos area, of course. Looking southwest towards La Jolla and Soledad Mountain off in the distance. Then Sabre Springs open space with Peak 1080 on the right. North Van Dam Peak in the middle. Looking south towards Mission Trails Regional Park again. And then south-southeast, there's Twin Peaks. It was up there a couple hours ago. And swinging it back around to the east, my next little objective over there, if it's safe to do so. We'll see. And again, the Poway range. All right. So this is the 4th high point I've hit today. Would have been the 5th if I made it up to 1032, but like I said, I wasn't going to go off trail to get there. I can see Peak 1032 is right underneath. There's Peak 1091, and there's Peak 1032 looking again towards the south. All right, I'm going to get a couple more summit shots. It's time to move on. It's looking like this video is going to be super long because I've already started a second memory card. All right, so there were the summit rocks. Came from this way. Now, I'm just gonna see if it's safe to go this way. Looks like there's a Breaking Bad looking RV, Breaking Bad looking RV down at the saddle. Let's see. Get a little eucalyptus grove here. Eucalyptus comodulensis, of course. River red gum. I think this summit looks like it's higher, I think. We'll see. Saddle between the two humps. That's what I was talking about. The Breaking Bad RV thing. See you at the summit. Some Aleppo pines up here. Cool. Okay. About to hit the eastern summit. Okay. This is it, Boulder Mountain East. So on Google Earth, it looked like this summit was the highest. It's kind of hard to tell. There's the other Boulder Mountain summit right there. Very short climb to get up here. Only maybe about 40, 50 feet of elevation gain, if even that. That's pretty nice. I'll just do a quick 360 up here. Feels a little hemmed in here. Start by looking east. Go counterclockwise. Now we're looking west. South. And back to the east at Woodson Mountain. Cool. Take one more summit selfie up here. Go to slightly higher ground for that. I'm gonna get ready to head off. It's 11:40 in the morning right now. So I've been out on trail for about 4 hours. I started about 7:40 this morning, maybe 7:45. So I've been out here for just about 4 hours. So now I'm just gonna round this, start heading back, pass by the saddle and the Breaking Bad trailer, and should be my last stop of the day, I think. I'll start heading back. So I still have quite a ways to get back. Probably be a couple hours before I get back to the car. Like I said, I'm not making any more side trips, or at least not any planned ones. So I'm gonna start working my way back. Start heading towards the trail and start getting down this. Pretty cool to get a couple more shots up here. Got some lemon scented gum up here too. Corymbia citriota. These are the seed capsules. Close relative of eucalyptus. Often still listed as a species of eucalyptus. Corymbia citriota. That's what the juvenile leaves look like. They're rough and glandular, and the fragrance is great. Yep, Corymbia citriota. So I'm going to head back up towards the other end of this summit area and start dipping down. Okay, next challenge. Find the use trail again. Let's see. I think I found it. There we go. Okay, now it's time to start descending. Time to start descending this use trail. It's gonna be pretty tricky in a couple spots because there's some definitely some small scrambling sections along this. So just take your time on those parts and watch your step. But here we go. At least I found the use trail going back down. All right, start heading down this and keep you posted on much shorter clips going forward. Yeah, this area seems to be a little bit of a gray area. I didn't see any negative signage. Didn't see any negative signage over here. There's an opening in this fence here. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. Okay. Now, I didn't see any negative signage, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. I guarantee if I went down that other road coming up from a different direction, that would definitely be leading into private property. I can pretty much guarantee that. But here we go. Time to start making my way down this. All right, see you on the next clip. Again, on the way up, you'll see this big boulder in front of you. On your left will be a brushy bypass. Oh boy, just watch your step. Little brushy bypass here, not too bad. No super big bushwhack, but a couple bushes in the way. Otherwise, you can try scrambling over the rock. Should be a pretty steep ramp. That's your choice. I chose not to. I'm trying to conserve some energy for the hike back. Probably gonna have some uphill on the way back. I'm assuming I'm gonna have some uphill. I'm gonna try to navigate to where I can avoid having to summit or nearly summit Twin Peaks again. Trying not to have to do that. Alright. Time to scramble down some rocks again. Alright. See you on the next clip. I'm back at that fork. I remember when I came up this way. A little brushier, a little narrower, but still decently followable. But I'm going to go back this way and see how much better this is. Let's see if this will lead me where I want to go. Pretty sure it will. It'll take me right next to this little pyramid-shaped mound right here. And down I go. It seems like this trail is taking me a little further north than my ascent route, I think. I didn't run across the other path. I didn't run across the other path, at least not yet. But it's taking me downhill, albeit I'm actually going roughly northbound right now. Let's see. It's a pretty descent route, though, I'll tell you. I'm not worried about getting lost. I mean, worst came to worst, I would probably go down towards some of those surface streets and hike along the roads to get back, but hoping not to have to do that. I like to keep it in nature this time. All right, let's see. Let's see if this keeps going the way I need to go. Looks like I'm approaching some kind of a junction. Let's see what this is over here. Not sure what this is. Definitely coming out further north than I did when I left the trail in the first place. I was kind of curious what this is here. Maybe it's more of the use trail, just on a broad plateau. Here's another Quercus agrifolia, variety agrifolia. Another small coast live oak tree. As I'm just about to come down to this plateau. I think it's still part of the use trail system here. think. Yeah, this isn't the Pomerado Trail. The trail keeps going that way. I'm just going to keep following this way. I'm still heading towards where the Pomerado Trail is going to be. So, not worried too much about anything right now. We'll see. Just an interesting little flat plateau section here. Okay. Now back on the used trail, looks like. Alright. Keep me posted. I haven't seen much of this today. It's Toyon, Heteromeles arbudifolia. Really have not seen much of that. Less than a handful today. We do have a couple of them here on this steep rocky slope right here. So yeah, I've come out further north there than when I went up. Definitely. So this is a little extra interesting adventure that still should be taking me where I'm trying to go. And we'll see. Should be back probably within a few minutes. I should be back at the Pomerado Trail, but we'll see. Alright, should be getting near my trail soon. Right near this residential building here. I should be just about to hit it momentarily, as far as I can tell. Or just where the Pomerado Trail ends. Well, let's see when I get down there. Looks like we came out a little too far. Guess I'll have to follow this drainage gutter for a while, I guess. Huh. Didn't expect to come out and not have a trail. So I'll just follow this, I guess. I think I'm just about to connect with the Pomerado Trail right over there. So I should be good to go. I didn't expect I was going to be all the way over here. Well, time to reconnect with the trail and keep on trekking. Go back on the trail. Finally. Alright, so I'm back to where I originally left the Pomerado Trail. That way for a short bit, and then I branched to the left to go up. So that was my trail up. Trail down dropped me off further north. So I actually didn't intersect the Pomerado Trail. I intersected the drainage culvert and followed that. That was pretty crazy. Alright, well, back on the Pomerado Trail. I'm going to follow this as long as I can. I'm going to try to avoid having to reclaim any of these peaks. Don't want to climb any more peaks today. I'm good. Alright. Very beautiful here though. It should be nice and cruisy for a while, which I'm looking forward to doing. I'm starting to feel tired now. Starting to feel tired. Alright, see you along the way. Alright, so we're back at this junction again. Where the Powell Trail branches off really sharply. So, that way and up this way. Okay. Interesting. Oh, here I go. And just a short update. Almost past this house with all the pine trees. Italian stone pine, Aleppo pines, Monterey pines, it looks like. On the very gentle, cruisy part of this hike. So those are, yeah, these are Monterey pines right here. Very nice looking Monterey pines. And next to it, Italian stone pines. Pretty nice. So much gentler here. All right. Oh, I'm kind of glad. My body's starting to get tired. It's been a few weeks since I've done a rigorous hike like this. Last one was Cuyamaca Rancho when I did East Mesa. I don't know if it's going to be longer though. This one I'm definitely putting miles in as well. We'll see. Alright. Let's hope the cruisiness stays along for a while. Feels nice and mellow. Okay, we're passing by this. We're ignoring this spur. There's that wood post again. And we're staying on this well-traveled trail. We're getting close to where peak 1032 would be and 1091 up there. So I made some progress. Like I said, I'm going to try to see if I can keep the low road path going for the rest of this, I'm hoping. So I don't have to gain too much elevation on the way out. So we'll see how this is going to work. So I'm coming up close to where Poway Trail is going to start going up that canyon between peak 1091 and peak 1032. So we'll see if there's a trail that goes straight through. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. So I'm back at the split. Poway Trail keeps going on that way. And this is from whence I came after hitting peak 1091. So I came down this way, went up this part of the Poway Trail till it summits over a viewpoint. So I'm going to go back this way to do some uphill. Found some more patches of California wood sorrel. Look at that. What a cheerful little plant that is. Oxalis californica. They're really blooming right now too. Very handsome. All right. Stopped for a few minutes to get some sips of water. Found a small rock where I could sit. And now, continuing on into this woody chaparral section, this wooded area of tall chaparral shrubs. So I gotta keep a lookout for that junction. Left will go up to the peak 1091 again, which I'm not planning on doing. I'm pretty much done summiting summits today, at least I hope I am. hoping not to have to go back over Twin Peaks today. Getting tired. Alright, I'll see you at that junction. Alright, so I'm back at that junction after another couple to a few hundred feet of climbing. Whew, it's tired me out. So this way eventually took me up to peak 1091. This is the way from whence I came. So I'm going to try to avoid having to re-summit Twin Peaks. So yeah, so I just came from that up there to here. That's where I went to get to peak 1091. Now I'm going to start descending this part here. Hopefully it's mostly going to be downhill the rest of the way. I'm hoping. Yeah, my legs are getting tired. Going all the way to Boulder Mountain will definitely up the rating on this hike quite a bit. So just keep that in mind if you want to do Boulder Mountain from Silverset Park. Like I said, I'm going to try to avoid having to reclimb Twin Peaks, so I don't have to gain another few to several hundred feet. I see a trail going over that way, so I'm hoping this will lead me over there. Let's hope. I'm at a trail split. This is how I came down when I saw that hybrid sumac right there and went this way. What I'm going to try to do is see if I can connect down to that trail system down there via this trail here. I'm hoping this takes me down there. If not, I'll have to reclimb Twin Peaks, and I don't have the energy for that right now. So let's see if this will take me down to that trail right there underneath that flat top hill at the mansion. We'll see. It's starting to go downhill, so we'll see what happens. Wow, this section of trail is pretty lovely. Not gonna lie. Since I didn't go this way before, this is new territory for me. Just wondering where this is gonna go. Like I said, I'm hoping it's gonna meet up with a trail that's gonna bypass Twin Peaks to the west and take me back at least somewhere towards Silverset Park. I really don't want to reclimb Twin Peaks. I've already lost a significant amount of elevation since topping out near where the residences are, kind of near where I took that picture of all the rocky outcrops. see. And away I keep going. Hopefully gonna intersect that trail. Probably will. Not too worried. But it'd be nice to start heading back. Been out here for over 5 hours. I've definitely put in some miles today. Alright, see you along the way. Yeah, this trail I'm taking seems to be just wiggling its way around, starting to head away from where I want to go. I'm hoping it's gonna eventually lead to a trail down there. A little disconcerting. Oh boy. We'll see. Hopefully. I'm beginning to think I'm gonna have to do a street bailout if I can get close enough to a cul-de-sac or something. Because I'm going away. I'm heading roughly north again. Yeah. Really didn't expect this to happen. Oh boy. I'll have to see if I can find a street bailout or something. This just keeps taking me around peak 1091. Only slightly lower this time. I'm definitely gonna have to look for see if there's a way I can get a street bailout. If I can get to that road, I should be able to navigate the Twin Peaks road. We'll see. So I'm still negotiating my way around this trail. This definitely was not an intuition paid off type situation. At least not yet, not so far. Now, I'm hoping this is going to lead out to a street, cul-de-sac, or something, where I could do a bailout. Like I said, pretty sure this will end up getting somewhere where I can bail out and then just hoof it along surface streets to get back to the car. Should be able to navigate my way back to at least Twin Peaks Road. So we'll see how that works out. This is leading me pretty steeply downhill. Hopefully this will lead into a cul-de-sac, and where I can just, or something similar, where I can get right onto a road. No trespassing issues, nothing. But I do not have the energy to reclimb and go back over Twin Peaks. We are starting to head down towards a neighborhood, so this could end up being a pretty good bailout point at some spot. Maybe even a public easement trail that'll lead me back to the park. So I see a dirt track there at the bottom, but I don't know. There are a lot of these easement trails through the city of Poway, so like I said, I'm not super concerned about getting lost, not getting out, because civilization's right here. If worst came to absolute worst, worst came to worst, I would just bail out by finding a direct line of descent. But I'm trying to avoid that and stay on trail as much as possible, so I don't have to bushwhack, get stuck in a bush, in a thicket situation, if you know what I mean, with all these chaparral and sage scrub shrubs. But yeah, I mean, I'm going downhill, which is good. Now, there might be an easement trail down there. I'll find out. If not, I'll try to see if I can get to one of these cul-de-sacs, get to that main road there. That main road will head south. I should be able to intersect east to west trending Twin Peaks Road. I'm not sure if that's Pomerado. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I think next time I'm in one of these suburban hiking areas, I'm going to try to memorize some of the streets and stuff in case I need a bailout plan, so I don't have to reclimb the peak and really overdo it. Alright, well, we shall see soon. So that's from whence I came. Now I'm at another split. This is counterintuitive. This is intuitive. So maybe I will end up on one of those Poway Greenbelt trails that'll lead me back to Silverset, or at least vicinity. So staying left to head downhill more, and we will see if this is going to work out in my favor. I have a feeling it will at some point. It's just right now, definitely not the way I anticipate it going. Alright, so I think I'm joining what I'm assuming is going to be a greenbelt trail. Poway does have some of these running through it for people to walk and exercise. So I'm assuming that's what this is. I'm just about to join it right now. I'm hoping that's what this is. But I'm going to take it because I need to get out somehow. Okay. I think this is just a regular greenbelt trail. I don't see any negative signage here. What does that sign says? End of city maintained trail. So this is a greenbelt trail, so we're good. Of course, I wanted to go this way anyways. All right. Start heading this way. Hopefully, I'll have to climb a lot more to get out of this. But I'm just glad. At least I think I found the way to get back to where I need to go. All right. See you on the next clip. Pretty interesting landscape here. Yeah, this is that greenbelt trail. Bridges here. Very interesting. Larchmont. Alright. Larchmont. This is part of the Twin Peaks Trail. Interesting. Alright. Probably have some elevation to gain. Hopefully not too much. So tired. Goes up this way. So hopefully I can bypass having to go up there. And we'll see how this goes. Just going to be a pretty interesting loop hike after all this is said and done. So I'm at another junction. This is the Twin Peaks Trail. And it looks like I go this way to stay on the Twin Peaks Trail. Interesting. So I don't know where that goes. We'll see about this one. Yeah, Twin Peaks is way over there. There's peak 1091 of my next round. Here's a Quercus agouti, kind of similar to an Engelmann oak. I'm pretty sure this is agouti right here. Pretty cool. All right, I guess I'm gonna go up this way. Looks like I've temporarily got over a small pass here. Whew, I've been drudging. I don't do drugs. I've been just trudging uphill and uphill. Not really steep, but after a while you're just tired and want to get back. So let's see. I wonder if I'll be able to take the low road, because it looks like there's another uphill stretch over there. Oh man, I don't know why, but this last bit's kicking my behind. Not gonna lie. This is definitely tougher than I thought it was gonna be. Let's see if I can take the low road, maybe. Hopefully I don't have to climb anymore. Or at least not too much, hopefully. And we'll see. I'll see how this goes. Okay, come up to a split. I'm going to try to see if I can take this right junction here. Try to avoid having a bunch more uphill on the way back. So I am beat. There's one going that way. I think there's one going right underneath that bluff. I'm just gonna see where this goes and see what happens. Yeah, there's the hill with the mansion on it. Hopefully this will lead to a easier spot. Here, a set of tennis. I'm wondering if I'm going to be here. I wonder if this is actually going to take me near the park. Hoping so. That would be nice. I am beat. Not gonna lie, this one kicked my behind today. Especially getting up the Boulder mountain and back. And this one will definitely be rated a little bit higher. Twin Peaks itself is a 3, probably a 3 out of 10. It's in the higher realm of easy. Not too bad. I think I see the park. I think I see it down below. If that's the case, I'm going to be so happy. I don't know if I was going to have to go around and navigate my way down, but yeah, I think, yeah, Silverset Park's just down here. All right. There we go. A lot of this, like California. There's a lot of that in this whole whole area. Oh, I'm so relieved to be almost back in my car. I thought I was going to have to hoof it around. Alright, well, once I see something crazy on the way back, I'll see you back at the car for a final wrap up. Alright, so I'm about another junction. I'm gonna go right. Should lead me right to the parking lot. It's one more little small uphill. I'll feel every one of these. Alright. Figured I'd update that. Any minute now. Alright. I think I got one more junction. I bore right. I think this meets up with the trail. It comes directly up from the edge of the parking area. There should be another trail coming up. That'll lead me right down to the park. Alright, let's see. Alright, I'll take one more junction right here on this trail. I thought that was a trail. Ah, great. But this is going to lead right to where I was parked. I'll just follow this small use trail. Should be a trail over here, right? So I thought. Ah, boy, I should have just followed. Should have stayed the other direction. Could have sworn this was going to lead me to the trail that comes up from the park. I guess not. Oh, this is disappointing. A little navigational error again. Should have just followed the sign to Silverset Park. Right near it. This is a pain. Yeah. I guess since I'm really tired, I'm making some navigational mistakes. Ay, ay, ay. We're so close to the park, too. I think I found the trail. Yeah, I should have went left at the junction, not right. Oh well. I can't believe I did that. Oh, no big deal. I'm back. Right here. And this is where my video is going to end. I'm parked right over there. Kind of glad to be done with this one. This one kicked my butt. Lots of up and down on this hike. A lot of uphill on the way back, so be prepared. Well, here's Silverset Park. I say farewell. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed coming along on this interesting adventure. See you on my next hike.